I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. And I'm up again. I got tired eyes, need a cup of blend. That's right, in the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb a new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day. I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la. Let's go, yo. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shoot tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the reaction phase, your favorite Monday morning podcast on Monday afternoon. Monday morning podcast.
Hey, we tried our best, okay? Listen, I was too busy losing nationals, okay? Like, give me a break.
Listen, I was just doing the intro, and I was also chatting with people in the chat, and I could hear myself twice. So this is already off to a fire start. We are here. We got a brand new background. We are doing the reaction phase live to celebrate all things United States Nationals weekend, including the calling. And we're pretty much just going to celebrate Ascent all weekend because, spoiler alert, those guys went out there and crushed it, except maybe one of them.
Whew. Listen, the one that didn't do well, like, probably had the most fun. Let's be honest, okay?
So listen,
they might be good players, but that one player is the most fun to be around.
That might be true. From someone who's been around those players, that might be true. For all of those in the chat, this is how today is going to go. I'm going to hit you with a rundown. We're going to talk about our topics, and then at a point in every topic, I am going to reach into the comment section. We are going to talk about some of the things that you guys want us to talk about regarding our current topic. So today's podcast is going to be a little more interactive than usual. We're going to give you guys an opportunity to give your input and get our thoughts on some things. Maybe ask Mo Bogsley some questions about the stash, about the bed, about how good Eye of Ophedia is in Kano. It all sounds fantastic. We're going to talk about all of that and maybe even a Panthers game coming up next. But Mo, do you want to hit him on the rundown or do you want me to?
You know what? Either one works. Either one works.
I probably should because you've been running around like a madman, and I gave you the rundown like 10 minutes ago.
Listen, I've got like 15 hours of sleep in 5 days. Like, I can do anything. Like, you see these bags? These bags take time to grow. It is not a one-night thing.
Do you see these bags? Do you see these bags? These
bags the money bags? Oh, yeah, I see your money bags.
Also took time to grow. So, guys, today on the reaction phase, we are going to talk about Nationals and the calling over there. We're going to talk about the event atmosphere. We are going to touch on the social media aspect of it because Mo was boots on the ground at the event. I was consuming the event from a distance, as in less than 8 days, I think I'm going to become a father. So I wasn't able to go, but I'm super excited nonetheless. We are going to break down Nationals.
Sorry, Daddy?
Oh, God. Oh, no.
You can't cut it out now. You can't cut these out.
We're going to break down the U.S. Nationals field and the top 8, talk about some surprises, talk about some deck lists. We are also going to break down the top 8 of the calling that followed U.S. Nationals. We are then going to touch, before we end, on the market, because not only was I consuming socials, was Mark at the event, but MinMax Games was probably the premier vendor, and we have some awesome data to share with you all. So we're going to talk about the market, what is moving, and we're going to close the pod with the closing crazy comment section, where we give you guys a chance to be the stars of the show and talk about comments from last episode. Mo, do you think I hit everything on the head, or did I miss something?
If you missed something, I missed it too. I think you did a great job, like always. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you today.
See, rookie content creator over here, because I did miss something. What I missed is the fact that you guys are looking at these deck lists and you're going to want to build these decks. And if you want to pick up singles, you can visit minmaxgamesfab.com and use promo code HTTCG for 5% off your singles order of $50 or more. Help support the community, help support me, help support Mo, and help support Ascent. So again, minmaxgamesfab.com, promo code HTTCG on singles orders of $50 or more. So thank you guys for hanging out. Let's talk about the venue. Mo, you were there. You were boots on the ground. How was the event, man? Walk us through it.
It was great. The event honestly was a ton of fun. It was ran super smoothly. Actually, like, they knew us nerds had to be kept in the basement. So when you walked into the event, there was a security guard and turnstiles you had to go through to get into the basement. Like, if you didn't look like a nerd, you couldn't get in. Like, it was a tough bouncer, I'll be honest. Like, if you weren't nerdy enough, that turnstiles would not let you in. But
and they let you in?
Barely. They're like, you're way too handsome to play cards. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. I know. So, like, put this mask on and to cover up your beautiful face, and you can go in. I'm like, all right, cool. I will cover my beautiful face, and I'm allowed in suddenly. So
okay, so you walk in, and something I heard is the Nationals for Fab US Nationals did not share the floor with any other card game. It wasn't going alongside a Magic event. It wasn't going alongside a Disney Lorcana event. Nothing. It was just Fab US Nationals. Is that true?
It is true, but man, let me tell you, Disney was all over the floor. People are talking about it. People are hyped for it.
Really?
I've talked to many people that, you know what? Listen, I'm ready forming a team. I'm in work. Like, I'm talking to MinMax right now to form a separate team. You guys better watch out. We are building our team from day one.
Listen, man, I don't know if I can sponsor 2 teams. You guys are already too much to deal with it from time to time. I'll leave those stories for the after hours pod maybe, but you guys are a little bit ridiculous to deal with. But you not only experienced kind of playing the game at the event, but you experienced what I always call the reason I want to go to all these events, right? And that is interacting with people, hanging out with your friends, just kind of, having drinks, having dinner, and having a good time. That seemed to be what your weekend mostly consisted of.
Listen, I wasn't winning games this weekend. I was having a good time. I shared an Airbnb with 12 people. I only met 2 of them before this event. So I was in a party house with 10 people I haven't met before and 2 people I have. It was a great time. And then, I went to a football game. I basically wasn't playing Fab because I'm bad at it. But, man, it was great.
You were not bad at it. You were having a rough weekend. And like those of us who couldn't go, you were having a rough weekend. I was having a rough weekend just because I had major FOMO. So as we go to touch on kind of exploring the event from a distance, I want you guys to give some input. If you weren't able to go to the event, let me know in the comment section what you thought about the coverage from a distance, what you thought about Fab Twitter, the Fab Facebook group, however you interact with Fab events when you can't go. Do you think that, you had enough information? You were loving what you were seeing, or do you think you wanted something different? I want to talk about that with you guys. I want to give you guys a chance to have some input in the comment section here, and I'll start with this. I have been very quick to criticize LSS, and that's not when I feel like something is wrong. I feel the need to say it. They did a 180 on their Twitter feed this weekend. We got hero breakdowns, we got percentages, we got when the top 8 kicked off, we got who was playing what, we got end of the day breakdowns from LSS. LSS deserves credit for this event. That was awesome. It was really cool to see from someone who couldn't make it. And I know that on the convention floor, when you're there, you probably don't notice stuff like that. But man, it makes it so much easier. It makes it easier to do stuff like this. It makes it easier to do stuff like this. It makes it easier to talk to friends and tweet things and have conversations and pump up Ascent that is all over the place.
Listen, just saying, Ascent best team in the world? Maybe. Just maybe.
Maybe. So starting from the top, we have the stream coverage, and there was stream coverage of U.S. Nationals all weekend long. And Mo, were you expecting, now that you're like pseudo famous, were you expecting your stream game? You just didn't get it?
I have a rough history with stream games in every game I've played so far. If I get a stream game, I'm either losing or I forgot to mark something on my deck list and I get a game loss, or my stream games are not great, to be honest. It's almost a curse at this point. I don't expect stream games. I was told I got a shout out by the famous Tan and Grace. So that's cool. Like that's awesome. I'm glad the 2 and 8 player got a shout out because that means a lot. So thank you,
dude.
Thank you.
The commentators were crushing it, especially during the portion of the draft. If I were to criticize anything about the stream, it's that as the players were drafting on day 1, there was a bunch of announcements saying, "Hey, the stream starts at this time," and then everyone started drafting. Right? Well, the announcers can't talk for an hour and a half about nothing while people are drafting. So there was some kind of mini games up on the stream, and I wish they would have pushed the start back and be like, okay, our players have drafted, they're in the deck building phase, and now we're starting the stream. Because there was a little bit of like awkward dead air there, but once things got rolling, it felt like it never stopped. But this weekend, more than usual, there was a litany of bad beats, I hate Uprising draft tweets. Was that the feeling on the floor? I know you hated Uprising draft this weekend.
So Mo Bogsley from the floor coming in now. See, I was walking around talking to everybody, and I did not talk to a single person that was like, "Oh my god, my deck is amazing." I think everybody went in there saying, "I'm going to force Fi," and then everybody forced Fi, so nobody was happy with their decks. I personally forced Fi, and about pick 5 or 6, I was like, "Well, Iceland is really open." But these other players should be smart and switch out of Fi. I'll be the dumb player and stay in Fi. And the other 5 players were like, there's someone else smart in this pod. They'll all switch out of Fi. So we had like 5 Fis in my deck, my pod. Everyone else I talked to was like, wow, my deck is almost unplayable. And we were all like, no, my deck is worse. No, my deck is worse. No, my deck is worse. Let me tell you, I saw a lot of bad decks. A lot of bad decks. Because guess what? When everyone forces Fi, no one has fun. It's almost like drafting takes skill. And I threw skill out the window this weekend. So it's on me. I'll take the fault on that one.
Listen, I have some advice for you. And this is, you guys, in a sense, you're the pro players on the pro team. I'm just the content creator. I'm the old guy. Back in my day, I was pretty good in the scene, but now I've retired a little bit. So let's not get too crazy here. But if you can't spot the Timmy at the draft table, you might be the Timmy at the draft table, my friend. Rough weekend for you. I hear you were playing Fatigue Fi, new archetype.
Yeah, Fatigue Fi. I fatigued my very first opponent. They were on Dromai. They had literally 0 cards left in their deck, so then I swung for lethal. That was a great time. My second opponent had 3 cards left in their hand when they killed me. Super close game. Almost fatigued them. So, Fatigue Fi, guys. That's a new strat. And then my third opponent was Icelander, and being the only Icelander at the table wasn't really, I can't fatigue them, so I just died. But yeah, I had like 3 Oasis Respites, 2 blues, and a yellow. Like, that's exactly what you want in Fi. Let me tell you right now, Fatigue Fi is the new strategy. So you just go out there and draft some Fatigue Fi.
I'm not going to leak our DMs, but I had to check my phone because after round 1, when you fatigued your opponent, I got a let's go with 6 O's. So I knew it was serious business when you were playing a Fatigue Fi.
So I thought I was going to have Cracked Baubles in my deck. As soon as I got from the table, I was like, this is a Cracked Baubles deck. And then
that's the first text I got.
I had exactly 27 playables with 3 Phoenix Flames, and I was like, no Cracked Baubles, baby. We're going to play all these bad generics that I never want to see. Like playing Yellow Sift and Red Sift, let me tell you, not good, but it blocks for 3. Blocking, it works sometimes.
Well, hey guys,
So,
I think it was on this podcast you pioneered the phrase, just block, dude, just block. And I also got the 27 playables text. 27 playables, we got there. It's like, I didn't know that was a concern.
As I was drafting, my pack 3 pick 1 was a really, really, really good playable card, or a Heat Wave. And I was like, wow, Heat Wave is really good. Will I have enough playables? So I took the Heat Wave. That was almost a mistake. Taking the Heat Wave was almost a mistake.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you had yourself some bad beat stories. And do you think that the social media presence was there because, I mean, you sit down at US Nationals and it's unlike any other event, right? It's not your armory. It's not even a calling, right? You got this feeling. And when you sit down, you're so focused. I think players might have big brained themselves. Just like you did. You thought yourself out of you've been playtesting, you've been drafting for some time now. You sit down at this big event, this big venue, in this high stakes game, and you kind of lose track of that. And you big brain yourself and you lose track of what you've been doing for months now. Do you think that was kind of the case? That's why people got a little upset?
I think a lot of players went on autopilot, right? Like I've drafted this set probably 30 times by now. And your brain just kind of goes into autopilot and you're like, oh my God, a 0 for 3 go again? Slam. A 0 for 3 go again? Slam. A really good blue Fi card? Slam. And like you just go in this like auto mode, like, oh my God, Fi's busted. I'm gonna draft Fi. But
Right.
Guess what? Everyone's doing that. So yes, we were all thinking like everyone else is gonna be smart enough to not do this, so I'll do this. And then the playables start drying up, and you're like, okay, the playables are drying up. Everyone else is gonna realize that. There's no
Right.
way the person to my left is still gonna force Fi. But then they're like, no way the person to my right's still gonna force Fi. Then we had like 3 Fis in a row. Like I was the starter of the Fis, and the 2 people to my left went Fi as well. Because like Bogsley's clearly a good player. There's no way he's playing Fi if there's no playables in this pack. And like saying like, what's up?
Disagree. So let's put this to rest once and for all. Before I go to some of the things the chat had to say about the coverage, again, if you guys want us to talk about your take on the coverage, leave in the comment section right now. But Mo, I want to know once and for all, is Uprising draft just bad? Or was it kind of the flow and the stakes of the weekend that made people more emotional about it?
This is rough because I was a big defender of Uprising. Like,
And
I've
then
been
you
defending
got
Uprising
clapped.
since day one. But I will also be honest. Uprising was the part of the format that I was most scared of. I was locked in my CC deck. I was confident in CC, but I was like, if I don't 3-0 or 2-1, I think everybody was aiming for 2-1 in draft. If I don't 2-1 this draft, my deck choice is not good because my deck is targeting the meta. So I was most scared for draft. Now, do I think it's a bad format? I don't think it's the best draft format. I don't think it's a bad draft. I think it's mid. Like, I don't think it's better than oh my god, what was the one with Oldhim in it? I'm blanking.
Tales of Aria.
I don't think it's better than Tails. Tails was clearly better, but this is clearly better than Arcane Rising. Like, Arcane Rising's way worse than this. So like it's in that middle ground. It's not the worst, it's not the best. I wish,
it's fine.
It's fine. Like I'll draft it, but it's a scary format to play at these levels. I think Blitz is a better format.
Oh gosh. You had me until the end,
Blitz.
I'm not going to lie.
Let's go, Blitz.
You had me until the end, I'm not going to lie. Chester Cheetah did point out that the coverage was good. Let me say coverage was good, and they missed my stream. As I transition to this point in fatherhood, I won't be able to do the sit down for 12 hours and do live coverage as much anymore, no matter how much I want to, because, oh man, the Pro Tour doing that was so much fun, but I loved watching it. I thought the coverage was great. Playtime TCG did point out something that I find to be true. Fab has a great team of casters working for it that really get thrown into any situation. Like we talked about these draft pools, they got a lot of downtime, especially in draft, and take it from someone who casted Starvo v Starvo games way back when. These Guardian Mirrors are tough to keep entertaining, and they do a fantastic job. So great take on that, guys. I love your takes in the chat so far. The commentators and the event was awesome. It was very cool. One weird point of note, there was no coverage for the calling, even when things were over. So I would have liked to have seen coverage for the calling. But that's right, guys, in the chat live podcast we got going on right now. We are moving on to the next topic. And as we talk about this, if you guys want your takes, our takes on your takes, on takes, leave them in the comment section. Mo and I are both watching the comments. We're happy to have you here. And we touched on the socials. Let's talk the U.S. Nationals full field breakdown. Mo, hit us with the stats.
Let's go. So for U.S. Nationals, the hero breakdown was 17.9% Phi, 17.2% Oldhim, 14% Jomai, Viserai was 9.9%, Icelander was 9%, Briar was 8%, Bravo was 6.9%. Can I get a nice in the chat?
Nice.
Dash was 5.3%, Dory was 3.4%, Lexi was 3%, Reinhardt was 2.5%, Bolton was somehow 1.1%. I'm sorry to all those Bolton players. Kano was 0.7%, Levia was 0.5%, and Katsu was 0.5%. Fun fact, I had both Levias sitting next to me in the final round, so that was awesome.
So you were not in a good spot. You were
just
not.
Kano and Levias hanging out in the final round. It was great.
You were not in a good spot. So that is the full field breakdown. And some things, let's talk about what sticks out. So guys, leave your comments about what sticks out to you about that breakdown. I want to go first. And the first thing that sticks out to me is, and it's not just so I can say nice again, which by the way, that is in the show notes. Nice is in the show notes. Bravo, OG Bravo being at 6.9% when control was so relevant at this event really sticks out to me. I thought for sure someone would come with some Bravo tech to slow it down and be able to trigger dominate on command to get through some of these other Guardians, some of these control decks. But no, man, just the 6.9% Bravo. I thought there'd be more.
It makes sense though, because the current Oldhim deck, while it is a control deck, it's also I don't care, I'm going to smack you in the face as much as possible control deck.
True.
So
that surprised me from the outside looking in, seeing the ability, the amount of pressure these Oldhims were able to put on. And that's why I thought Bravo would be so relevant, because the on-demand dominate lets you sit behind the fridge, right? The whole fridge of armor you can sit behind and then be able to trigger dominate on demand and push damage at any time that you see fit. feels like it would be useful. But man, people just love the Frostbite. They love the option to Frost React. We saw Frost React really coming through, especially in the Fi games, right? When Oldhim could get Fi on a 4-card hand and Fi was trying to continue pressure, that Frost React was clutch. It was nutty, man.
Yeah, I think that's like what changes a good Oldhim from a bad Oldhim is as soon as Oldhim realizes the Ice React is honestly overpowered against these aggro decks. Like, sure, you might leak 2 damage, but a 4-card hand is worth leaking 2 damage.
Yeah,
like
it
was
sometimes represents so much more than 4 damage, right? That last card can represent so much more than 4 damage. Now the problem is like, if you get something, the last card is an attack reaction or something like that, you try to ice react it out and they just slam attack react you and you're like, oh crap. That's not great.
Luckily attack reactions are kind of not played right now.
Few and far between. Another surprise. You would think, but I guess with the relevance of defense reactions in the meta, it feels very bad to have one of those cards in your hand just almost guaranteed to be stuffed by a D-react, right? So things like Ancestral Empowerment, Art of War, not really an attack reaction, but kind of an attack reaction, still making waves. And I think the Fi deck that played at one of the feature tables played a 1 of Razor Reflex, which I'm a big fan of. Ascent is a big fan of. Ian, hometown TCG Ascent, Ian, Deadly Barracuda, that guy loves putting 1 Razor Reflex in his chain decks, because if you banish it, your opponents are just looking for the other 2 for the rest of the game. It's so cool.
That's always the best thing. Is if you always have a card you want your opponent to play around and you know they're good enough to play around that kind of card, just put 1 of it in. Because if you pitch it early, like, oh my god, this guy's playing Razor Reflex or whatever, Pummel or whatever it might be. Like, 1 red Pummel is so effective at making them scared at all times. 1 red Razor Reflex, like, oh man, if they have Razor, like, if you just go Snatch with 2 cards in your hand, they probably are going to play around Razor Reflex, or they should at least. It just depends, but 1-ofs are great. Something that surprises me in this meta is Jomai is the 3rd most played deck, and Icelander is down there in 5th. That was a big surprise because I thought Icelander should have been 3rd. I thought Jomai should have been 4th or 5th just because of how hard that deck is to play. Jomai is very hard, and it's very bad against those ninjas. So that's a bold move.
Well, those ninja, the 0.5% Katsu doesn't really garner the respect that I think you need to give it. But I think that might be a factor of, on the surface, Icelander feels more difficult to play, right? Like, just on paper, just looking at Dromai and looking at Icelander at 2 deck lists, Icelander feels like it's more difficult to play. Now, I'm not making the claim that that's true. Icelander, they're both very difficult decks, but one feels like with you playing on so much on your opponent's turn and trying to sequence correctly, it can feel a little bit, tougher to play. We got some takes in the chat, though. Second Cycle says Michael Hamilton is the Wafo Tapa of our generation. His lists are always weird, but they work great for him. And this just goes to show you, this breakdown is something, but all these lists are just different. We got Dolcam BDE. Icelander remains OP. I don't know if Icelander remains OP, but we said it on this podcast. And Mo, give me my props where my props are due. Icelander is the toolbox deck. When you know what you're playing against, you know how you can tech the deck. What are you laughing about? I don't get it. Whatever.
I'm sorry. The Second Cycle post is like hilariously adorable, like cat wearing a sweater, like picture. I just can't get it. I don't know why. It's just a cat in a teal sweater. And it's just the funniest thing to me.
Dude, cats and teal sweaters are fun. Okay. But this just goes to show that you can play whatever you want until it comes to the top 8. And our top 8 field narrowed considerably. The U.S. Nationals top 8 broke down into 2 Icelander, 2 Fi, a Dash, a Briar, 1 Oldhim, and 1 Easton from hometown TCG Ascent, hitting the top 8 of U.S. Nationals. Mic drop, big boom. This man on Oldhim has big Oldhim brain. It is... oh, please don't try. That's going to be so loud. I'm so scared. It's like, oh no, it's going to be so loud. So huge shout out Ascent, the whole squad, and shout out Easton for making that. But Mo, we continue to be smarter than everybody in the world because this looks like a control winter to me.
Yeah, it does, especially knowing that dash was all control, like no gas. It wants to sit behind its gun and just go pew 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 pew. Which
Pew,
one of the
pew.
funniest tweets I saw was the convention center is not going to stop like the dash play because they said like no weapons allowed and had like a little gun picture, and it just made me laugh because someone's like they're not going to stop dash from winning, and it just made my day.
That's
But yes,
pretty
Control
great.
Winter with only 3 aggro decks. But let me just say, those 3 aggro decks, they pack a punch. Like,
Yeah. Yes, they do. I am so surprised to see Briar crack that top 8. I really thought that for Briar to get there against some of these heavier control decks, you really have to be able to play for that channel and get those channel downs and string together some really good turns. And you're pretty susceptible to any kind of interaction and interruption in that process, right? So to see that Briar kind of get there was really cool to me. You're frowning. You don't think so? You think Briar just can still just play zero cost attacks and go burr? Because I don't think so.
It's funny. I'm frowning because I played a Shapeshifter sealed event, and my opponent did the +3 non-attack into a channel, pitching an Earth card into a snatch. So it was 10 go again. So I was frowning because even in the side events, I was getting rolled. So it was just a flashback. And even in the side events, I couldn't win.
I should have known that when I said Briar and you like shunted away from the camera. You're like, oh no, sorry. What did that rune blade do to you, dude? Are you gonna make it?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
Oh my gosh. But so these deck lists, I mean, are really spicy. They're really cool. And actually, we have a special treat for you guys. We want to take a look at 2 deck lists in particular. We've popped over, and I have up on the screen right now the Michael Hamilton Icelander deck. Now, this is the World Championship winning list. And this raised some eyebrows on stream. So big round of applause to not world champion, sorry. National champion. I said world champion. That's premature.
It's basically like a world champion. If you win, U.S. Nationals, you're basically the best player in the world. So I agree with that.
No, because I assume that you guys, someone from Ascent, is going to win Worlds, so I don't want to jump the gun on this. So, Michael Hamilton, nice job for the U.S. National Championship. But Worlds is still going to go to Ascent, but that's fine. Okay, so the big thing that sticks out on this list is obviously everyone's favorite. It's Wounded Bull. Wounded Bull in this deck is gigantic brain. This card is massive brain. This card is, I don't know, what's bigger than massive? Gargantuan brain. Were you surprised when you heard the murmurs that someone was slapping Wounded Bull on the table at U.S. Nationals?
I'll be honest. I did not know this was a card until someone said he's playing Bull. And like, what is Bull?
Like BS?
In which case, Googled Wounded Bull. Like, oh, that's an actual card? Oh, interesting. So I was not aware of this. It just feels like a wizard can play a Guardian card, which is just like super sweet that a wizard can be like, smack you for 8. I love it. I love the deck building behind this. Such a smart card. Such a smart deck building like decision.
So wild.
I was watching Easton play against Michael Hamilton in the last round, I believe. Yeah, it was the last round. They were both locked for top 8, but it was just like for a position. And I'm watching. I'm like, is that a red scarf for a scar? This isn't draft, right? Like, I didn't miss something. This isn't the draft portion. Wow, this is a cool deck, was all I was thinking.
So I thought this deck was neat because to me, my deck building, like my zone where I go to and I deck build. I'm like, well, how can I get outside the box? How can I get like some niche or something cool? And this to me said, I'm a wizard playing for second cycle. But instead of playing D-reacts and stunting you for second cycle, I'm going to get card advantage. I'm going to attack you for 8. I'm going to lose 1 card from my deck, but I'm going to put the other card to the bottom. And if you don't want to take damage, you're going to lose 2 cards from your deck. It's a value engine until second cycle when you turn on your arcane damage, or on the end of turns when you're turning out arcane damage and chipping value through. That's what this list screamed to me. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that was so cool. I'm hoping that's what he was doing.
I'm lost for words with this deck just looking at it. because most Icelanders, they need those big reds to close out the game. And this deck is like, I'll E-Strike for 5, go again. And
Or
then just play an
E-Strike for
Ice Vein.
E-Strike
Like-
for 7, Aether Ice Vein you on your turn. Like what is happening? What is going on right
This
now?
deck is so hot, and
It's
I love
so
everything
good.
about it. I love.
So this deck is ridiculous. The Coronet Peak I saw making a lot of waves. Again, it's another card. It's like Crown of Seeds that I love. It often enables you to keep 2 cards, still turn on your channel or keep your channel like Frigid down and arsenal a card. I love the use of Coronet Peak in these wizard decks. I think it really has a chance to shine. The 2-block often becomes relevant at the end of games. This deck, I mean, we could go on and on for hours. It's
Another
playing.
thing I think that we need to talk about is just Ironhide Gauntlet, because most Icelandic decks weren't playing that. They were playing the Node. So I think that Gauntlet's just super, like, it's not a huge equipment slot, but the fact that you're just playing that equipment, that you always have 1 floating, just to block for 2. Like, that's such a smart deck building choice, because when I was testing Iceland, I'm like, yeah, Node is cute, but it's not amazing, but it's a wizard arm, so you play it.
Right.
But I think Iron Gauntlet is just better. I would have been even happier if they played the one that gives +2 to the next attack that's cost 2 or greater.
Goliath Gauntlets?
Like, I think Goliath Gauntlet in this deck and just Wounded Bull them for 10 would be amazing. Like,
you
Wounded Bull
heard
for
it here
10?
first.
Just saying.
Now, notably, right, this deck is teched against those control matchups, against those Guardian matchups, and it looks like mostly Oldhim. It looks like this deck is trying to prey on Oldhim because there's a notable card we're missing here, and that's Command and Conquer. If I'm building this deck and I'm thinking I'm going to go face and I'm going to wizard you on your turn or wizard second cycle you while putting, some physical pressure on in the first cycle, I'm thinking Command and Conquer is some kind of auto include in here. Michael Hamilton's like, this is why you are small brain, Josh. No. Command and Conquer does not go in this deck. It's too easy to dodge, especially with things like Oasis Respite, which, I really hope it's not Respite. All weekend it was Oasis Respite, and I was like, I think it's Respite, but who knows? But man, you see that this deck is just big brain, so you'll love to see it, guys. If you want to build this deck, I would encourage you to give this one a try. Second Cycle said it's like a playable version of Muscle Wizard. I did think the same thing too. Battle Wizard, right? Like Wizard Warrior. You got a sword in one hand, you're casting a spell in the other. That was pretty cool. Chester Cheetah wants no more Oldhim. They very much feel the same way I do. I am over Oldhim. I've been over Oldhim for months now. Ugh, it's horrible. Do you have any comments that are sticking out to you want to touch on?
I just think this deck is sweet, and like, I love it. Like, I wish I had more words for it, but this takes deck building to a whole new level, and this is why I love Fab. And this is why Michael Hamilton might just be the best player in Flesh and Blood. Like, he takes deck building to the next level, and I love it. I love this deck building. I love this creativity. I love taking a wizard and saying, I can cast spells, or I can just punch you in the face with big cards. Like, so cool.
Wizards should not be able to punch you in the face, but man, they can. But that brings us to my next point. We want to give a shout out again, and a very special shout out to Hometown TCG Ascent Easton for making the top 8. God, your guys' jerseys look good on camera and on stream. There's some high quality photos. So big shout out, round of applause, guys, in the chat. Round of applause for Easton for making the top 8. But the second Nationals deck that we want to highlight is the deck that took Easton down. It was the Dash deck that preyed on Oldhim's, preyed on Control. And we have the Jacob Bauer Dash deck. And this thing was reminiscent of when I started playing Flesh and Blood. We had a local that played nothing but Defense Reaction Pistol Dash. Oh, it is frustrating to play into. Mark, did you get a chance to look at this deck?
I did, because I love Dash. I brought Dash to the first ever US Nationals and did pretty well with it. And I thought Dash was going to be good in this meta, but I was too scared of those Jomais. I was too scared of, those aggro decks, because Control Dash is great, but it's kind of slow. It's kind of clunky. But he figured it out. He put together this amazing deck list with Sunkiss in it. Like, Sunkiss. This cards I've never seen before. I have never seen Brutal Assault. And I'm like, a 2 for 4 that blocks for 3? Like, seems good. It's a blue that blocks for 3. Like, no, like, these deck builders at American Nationals just show why I love American deck builders, because they take it and they move it to the next level and they just big brain everything. Like
The
Springboard
brain was
Somersault,
huge.
I thought was a ninja card. I thought that was a ninja only card, and it's not. It's just generic. Like, that's amazing.
When I first started, I thought it was a ninja only card too. And when John, those of you who remember way back when, hometown TCG John, who started the channel with me, was like, "Oh, you got to include it in this deck." I went off on him. I'm like, "You're not even paying attention to the questions I'm asking you. You're telling me to include ninja cards in my deck." He's like, "It's not a ninja." I was like, "No, it's Springboard Summer card. Look at this. Look at the card. Look at the art. It's a ninja card." And then he like sent me a screenshot of like the bottom, and I was like, "Oh, all right, never mind." So
I mean, the art screams ninja, to be fair.
it just
looks,
the effect screams ninja. The art screams
everything
ninja.
about it screams ninja.
And this deck screams something that we haven't seen yet. It's life gain in Fab. This deck is literally playing Fab life gain, and all this deck wants to do is prey on decks that want to attack you. Oh, you want to attack me? Guess what? You're going to do nothing. I'm going to gain life. And once it's like, again, I'm practicing to be a dad. Sometimes you got to let the kid cry themselves to sleep. You got to let the aggro deck kick and scream and get it all out of their system, and then you hit them. Is that not how you dad? Is that not?
Oh, wait. Okay. Moving on. What I think is super interesting about this is that one-of game we were talking about earlier. Playing a one-of to make your opponent thinks you're playing more of them. If you see there's 1 Sunkiss and 2 Healing Bombs. Those cards are the same card in this deck. I'm not sure if he only had 2 Healing Bombs and 1 Sunkiss, but it is cool because if you see the first Sunkiss and you see Healing Bomb, are you just thinking, oh, are they playing 6 gain 3 life cards? Like, I would think, like, oh, he's just playing all 6 because he wants the effect. But that's such a big brain play because you're only playing 3, but you're playing split versions of them because it does the same thing in your deck. And that is so cool. And I love it.
It's also a tool. It's also a tool you can use at the end of a turn where you're loading up all your equipment, right? Maybe you're not going off, you're not attacking that turn, you're loading up all your different items. It's an action you can use on that last go again to like, hey, gain 3 life, arsenal something, move on to you. It keeps you so far ahead in these kind of control mirrors. It's just ridiculous. And we talk about the pressure that Oldhim can put on. It's not enough pressure to get through 40 life, 20 plus 20, 25, 27 defense reactions, and 6 life gain spells. Well, no, because Oasis, Sunkiss. You're telling me there's not, Sunkiss.
There's Sigil.
Healing Balm,
Sigil in there.
Sigil of Solace, Findel's Fighting Spirit, and Oasis Respite. Like all of that little life, and a Heart of Findel, all of that gains life here and there throughout this matchup. It starts to add up. So I don't know if Oldhim can physically present enough pressure, and this list was made to take that deck down.
Yeah, so I was at the Panthers game as I was watching US Nationals on my phone.
Okay.
And I was just sitting there and I was like,
way to be dedicated.
I was like, well, I was watching, I was literally more focused on the Fab game than I was on the football game at the time. But I was like, 5, 5, 5, 5, like so much 5 in a turn that like it's so awkward to block. But if anybody could do it, it was Easton. And I thought the game should have been over like 10 turns sooner, and he was still chipping away, still getting that edge. And I'm like, this is why Easton is one of the best players in the world, because this game, it shouldn't be going on as long as it was, because like the Dash deck is built so well, and Jacob is such a good player, and
it should have been over.
Grinding out that edge. It was so much fun to watch. This top 8 was filled with just some of the best players in the world, and every single game on stream was just a blast to watch.
It was. I was in the chat, and I was like, Easton was getting no respect. Everyone was like, this, because this Dash deck is not in a bad way. The Dash deck was built to prey on Oldhim, and chat and the commentators were like, yeah, Easton doesn't have a shot here. And I'm like, guys, listen, don't disrespect Easton. If anyone can pull this out, it's that guy. That guy has a brain on his shoulders that none of us can comprehend, and he almost got there. And he did get his props, because at the end of that game, everyone in the chat and the commentators called that the game was over like 3 or 4 times, and he kept battling back. He kept battling back. He's like, well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
This just in. If you know how to pitch stack, you can claw back into those games that you have no right to be in.
Yeah.
And, this just makes Fab such a good game because you can always come back and you're never fully out of it. In other card games, you can concede early because you know the game is over. In Flesh and Blood, you can never concede because there's always that chance that you can just slowly come back turn after turn. And
you can just draw
this
dead.
top 8 was just so much fun.
It was so much fun. So shout out to everyone in the top 8. Shout out to you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the top 8 coverage. Hopefully you got to check out some of those deck lists. We do have a couple people in chat pointing out that this is the cleric build of Dash. This is the life gain healer Dash, which is very cool. We do have a player that is stuck on Dory. Chester Cheetah is stuck on Dory. Dory was my first love. And this deck, we shout out to the local Rob, who used to run an event and is an awesome person and a good friend of mine. And he used to play this deck and made me not want to play Dory because you cannot attack react into this deck. You cannot attack react into this deck. It is brutal. It feels terrible.
That's the coolest part about Dash is because when you sit down against any opponent in Nationals, you're like, oh, it's Dash. They'll probably boost Dash. And then when you find out they're on hyper control Dash, you already sideboarded on.
You boarded for
boost.
boost.
The wrong cards in. Like, you are already losing this game before the game even started based on how you sideboard. And that is hilarious to me. Such a big brain.
That is big brain.
I love Dash.
And now it's time for our first game of the episode. We are going to play Mo Knows, where I ask Mo a question about the topic we just covered. And I will ask you, chat, again, if you want to be involved, if you want your take given to us, let us know in the comment section where I ask the question. I have an answer already that I've prepared. Mo doesn't know I'm going to ask the question, but Mo does know what hero, if you knew this was going to be the top 8, what deck are you bringing to spike the top 8 and take it all home? And you can't say Kano because you went own a billion.
It's funny because I would bring Kano to this top 8.
You can't say Kano because you went own a billion. You got to come up with something else.
That's so frustrating.
Boom, boom,
no, don't boom me. So let's see here. We have a bunch of control decks, 3 aggro decks. Mm-hmm. If I knew I was going to face the aggro decks, if I knew I was going to face the control decks first, I'd bring Reinhardt because Reinhardt can prey on these Oldhims, Icelanders, and Dash. However, there is a deck that was breaking the internet this weekend. I'm saying Young Prism. Let's go. We're bringing Young Prism this top 8. And just
even into Fi?
Listen, there is a 5 out of 8 chance I don't get an aggro deck. And I like those odds. Well,
okay.
Actually, I don't think Young Prism does well against Icelander. So maybe I don't bring Young Prism, actually, because you just play like 27 defense reactions. So you know what? No, I think I play Reinhardt. I think I'm bringing Reinhardt in this meta.
So I'm super glad to hear you say that because that was my take too. When I saw the breakdown come out of U.S. Nationals top 8, I thought to myself, man, if there was an OG Brute that snuck their way into this field. We've talked about this before. Brute's a deck that always seems to have extra pitch to handle your wizards. It always seems to be able to intimidate, to get rid of some of those D-reacts. There's not really a ton of effective tech against the Reinhardt in this top 8. I think Reinhardt would have been a really cool choice. I would have loved to see it. And I'm even happier that you and me are on the same page because I didn't want to have to tell you how wrong you are.
You see the dodge Fi and Briar. It's a terrible matchup for you.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a matchup for roulette, but
dodge or high roll because I can tell you firsthand, if you go Blood Rush Bellow, take a turn off Blood Rush Bellow, those matchups are actually pretty good. They don't block very well. You do a lot of damage real quick.
Well, if you just roll Scabskins and always roll a 6, I feel like you're winning that too, you know? Just
one of the few times I've played Reinhardt like really focused and trying to win, not just like for fun, was coaching from Mansant on this channel. He coached me on, it was Reinhardt, it was Levia. But we went, in his coaching video, we drew Blood Rush Bellow, took a turn off and blocked Blood Rush Bellow. And he's like, see, it's easy. And I was like, wow, this really is easy. This is fantastic.
No comment. I played my first Levia game this weekend, and I died my own blood debt. So that was fun. It was great times. Great time. Low Levia. So much fun.
Did you watch that video where we played Azalea versus Levia? John drew up his first hand, and he goes, "Oh, this is horrible."
So like when I was playing Tommy's Levia deck versus him, the first few turns I'm like, I can't do anything. But as soon as you get that graveyard full, you're like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And then you get to the late game and you're like, I can't do anything. It's just a roller coaster of emotions. And it's hilarious.
Shout out Dennis. Hometown TCG Dennis is in the chat, and he was the person I played against for that coaching. And afterwards, he was like, "Well, I hate this. Like, what was I supposed to do?" I was like, "That was the worst game."
Just be better, Dennis. If you're better, you beat Levia. Like, just play better. Like,
moving on to talk about the calling top 8, and the reason I want to move on is because not only did Hometown TCG Ascent Easton nail the top 8, spike the top 8 of U.S. Nationals, we have Hometown TCG Ascent Chris, the doctor, is in top 8'd the calling as well. So the breakdown for the calling top 8 was Dromai, Icelander, Reinar, again, you and me, Mo, gigantic brain, Viserai, and 4 Oldhims. It's just 4 Oldhims.
Oldhim. It's gotta be Oldhim.
Old man is relevant, and I was glad to see Viserai in here. I thought I would see Viserai more, especially at Nationals. I thought I would see more Viserai, but the community disagreed with me. They're not high on Viserai.
Yeah, Viserai's good, but I think he's currently just a worse aggro deck than Fire and Briar, sadly. Split damage is great against those control decks, but against aggro decks, so like you can split damage all you want because I hit for more. So those aggro decks are hitting for more as Viserai's trying to split the damage to beat the control decks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just what you think the field's going to be. I also heard Viserai struggles into
Icelander, probably.
Dromai, I think.
Dromai, okay. I would think that's a great matchup because Rosetta Thorn often allows you to kill a dragon and do 2 arcane damage to your opponent, which is great.
That's just what I was hearing on the field. I haven't played that matchup. I have 0 games on Dromai and like 0 on Viserai. So that's all just secondhand knowledge from random people I've talked to on the floor. I'm like on the floor reporter. I should be like live at the event. Like, this is Mo Bogsley on the floor. This is what I see.
We gotta get you one of those old timey news microphones and like a hat with the notebook in it. Do you know what I mean? Where you can pull it out. And
I will do that at Worlds. As I'm playing, I will interview random people on the floor. 100%.
Playtime TCG says Mo on the flow. I like it. I am all in. So Chris deserves a huge shout out here. And also I heard that when the top 8 for the calling kicked off, they took all top 8 players and snuck them away to a super secret hideout to play the top 8, which is a teeny bit awkward. Awkward.
It's hard to follow the games and know what's going on when you can't watch the games. But I also get they wanted the private area that the players could focus, actually play their games without being distracted. Because you only have so many judges, you only have so much like way to control who's around people. So I understand because the Battle Harden's going on, the top 8 of Nationals is going on. Now you need the calling to be played. Like, that's a lot for the judges to handle. And these judges were amazing all weekend long. I'm okay with this.
I don't like it because I like the environment. I love the excitement that builds up around these tables towards the end of rounds when a match is still going on and there's a crowd watching. Like there's 2 games going and everyone is congregated kind of around those 2 games. I love that environment, and I don't like anything that takes that away. I mean, think of all the min-max events where we've had, 64 players in the hotel ballroom and the feature match is going on and it's a long-running feature match, or the top 8's kicking off and everyone from the whole ballroom just starts to congregate over and circle around the stream table and just watch. And players, to their credit, are awesome about not like saying things or giving advice or tipping off things, which would ruin the competitive integrity. I completely agree. But they've been amazing about that. And I guess while it's not a problem, I would have liked to see it out in the open. But we didn't get there. It does look like Oldhim won this event. So shout out Oldhim. It wasn't Chris, unfortunately. But Chris did make the semis. So he got out of the quarters, made semis, got beat there. But shout out Chris. Again, these guys have been putting in the work. And I brought these here for a reason. Because listen.
I'm listening, Josh.
Chat.
I'm listening. Spit it out. Let's go.
Chat. I have been on the Ascent bandwagon from day one. I have told you that these are not only some of the best people in the community, but some of the best players in the entire community. And I know nobody wanted to believe me at first. But did I tell you or did I tell you? Like, am I just always right? Like, is it always this bright around me when I am always this right about stuff like this? The Ascent players are not only great players, they're great representatives of the community. I'm just correct. Like, I'm just correct.
Listen, I don't know about that.
You're on the team. You're
Okay.
literally, there's pictures of you in the jersey.
I must say, I got so many DMs this weekend from just people that either I met or someone else on the team met. That was just saying what good experience they had playing against Team Ascent or just meeting them. Like, I don't know why they're DMing me this, but I got so many DMs that were just like, "Hey, met one of your teammates. They're awesome. Keep up the great work." Like, it was great. Like, I can read these DMs. Like, there was just so many positive, heart-filled, like, "Hey, I just played against so-and-so. They gave me," because we were handing out free tokens, like Frostbite tokens, Quicken tokens.
Shout out Bova
Like,
for
there's a bunch
making
of
all
tokens.
those that you did nothing for, but shout out Bova.
No. Yeah. Bova made amazing tokens that we were handing out. And I got just so many heartfelt, like, messages saying how Team Ascent is, like, one of the nicest, most fun to be around teams. And it just means a lot. Like, we're just trying our best out there.
And they also just spiked top 8s. Like, out of nowhere. Like, nobody had Easton or Chris on their list of players to watch. The list of players to watch at the end of first day on the coverage, Easton was in the top 8, and he couldn't get on the list of players to watch. I was like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I was like, how is he not? I was like, how is he not? No, how?
I was there. I was on the players to watch. Let's go.
Which just
Bogsley.
list of players to watch go to a football game because they didn't make it to the other event. So
listen.
I want to point out that when you're the captain of the Ascent rocket and it's getting this close to the sun, you got to protect your eyes, man. You got to be safe. So
I'm where the sunglasses at then?
Shut up. Moving on, we want to talk about the market because we have some awesome data from channel sponsor MinMax Games. Now, I was able to reach out to not only Peter, owner and operator, or co-owner and co-operator of MinMax Games, but also the Drip Daddy himself, Sam Dando, about what was selling, what wasn't selling, how their booth was doing, and what the market looked like. So, if you have any input on the market, if you have any thoughts on the Flesh and Blood market, specifically when it comes to these events and kind of vendors at the events, let me know in the comments section below. We will talk about that during this take. Let us know what you think about that. But we got some stuff that was selling, and MinMax, per usual, brought everything from rares to foils to high-end stuff to commons to token equipment. They had it all, and from what I heard, they were packed all weekend.
Yeah, kind of bet how well they're doing because I wanted to go talk to Peter. I wanted to go talk to Sam. I wanted to hang out with them, but there was always a line of people that I couldn't just hang out with them, and it was upsetting. But so often, I was just walking around the convention hall, and people were like, "I need this random bulk common from Arcane," and I was like, "MinMax Games." Like, I'm not even joking.
MinMax has
People were like, "I need this random terrible 10-cent card." I'm like, "MinMax Game has it 100%. I promise you." And I'm always like, "Use code hometown TCG." And everybody at my Airbnb was so annoyed with me because I kept on saying it. And then they're like, "Where'd you get that cool Ascent hat?" And I was like, AscentGaming.com, and you use code MoDollars with a Z. And everybody's like, "Do you have a code for everything?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you?
They're killing it.
Have you guys made content before? There's always a code. And if you go to trueclassictees.com, you can use promo code HTTCG and get nothing because they don't sponsor me yet, and I don't understand why.
However, if you go to gfuel.com and use code MoMoney, you will just have a great energy drink in your hands. So you should definitely do it.
We should just constantly have a section of the podcast where we pimp ourselves out to sponsors we want. Like, that's all we do.
Cheap. I am a cheap person to sponsor.
We just pimp ourselves out. But some market information for you guys as far as what was selling. Let's talk sealed product first. And when it came to sealed product, it was all about Welcome to Wraith, Arc, and Crew was flying off the shelves. Welcome to Wraith and Crew, both first edition and unlimited, were performing extremely well, and Uprising was essentially gone. Uprising flying off the shelves. It was awesome to hear, and the speculation I made on season 1 of this podcast that Uprising would constantly encourage players to open it because of the idea that they can chase marvels is looking like it's coming true. Having an all-in-one product for Flesh and Blood where you can chase cold foils, chase marvels, just looks to be an absolute dub. So the market just tracks that is flying, and Monarch people are not so sure about. Monarch and Tails people are not so sure about, Mo.
It's hard to buy Monarch when half the heroes are banned. So I get
That's what I said. That's what I said.
The cards you open are banned. Like I still think Monarch is the best set right now because as soon as they build more shadow heroes, more light heroes, those cards are gonna.
The best set for what?
Speculation. It is. If you think Fab is a game that is going to stay around for years and years,
okay, you're talking like to spec.
They're going to make another Leviah, another Prism.
They need to make another card. They need to make another Leviah. Like, just do that now. A new Leviah.
Library is such a good card that as soon as another light hero that cares about yellows is printed, library is going to skyrocket. Those cold foil libraries skyrocket. A new chain. Those chain cards are going to skyrocket. Guess what? Carrion Husk, one of the best equipments we've ever seen, is so cheap right now. Should be illegal to be this cheap. It is insane.
Carrion Husk is so cheap, and I will stand on my platform that Carrion Husk is one of the most oppressive cards in Flesh and Blood. So that's what's flying off the shelf as far as sealed boxes are concerned. Now, we saw a couple sealed boxes opened. MinMax Games sealed boxes yielded a foil E-Strike and a cold foil Heart of Findel. The cold foil heart came from a MinMax Games box. Not to say that all MinMax Games boxes are gas, but that one sure was, and
they are.
Other one, yeah, they might be. That was insane.
Every time I walked over there's always people cracking first edition packs, which was like awesome to see.
Yes.
And I just walk over and every pack people were screaming about, like they're opening pink foils, they're opening just gas. Like
it's
people
so
open
fun.
A first edition Sync Below, and that's still hype. Like people want to play with these cards, they want to open these packs, and people would just walk over, they buy 4 packs. It's like $400, and they were just hype. Like it was insane to watch.
It was crazy to watch, and the cool thing is those vendors. And again, we're talking about MinMax Games, but we want to shout out just vendors in general. It's a new environment to go to one of these events and open expensive packs or high end product at the booth on site. Like that feeling in itself is crazy, because when you pull something, it's like the crowd is with you. It's the ultimate live box opening video where people are cheering and patting you on the back. That's a really cool feeling. So again, shout out there. As far as what's not selling, the Monarch, the Tails, I'm with you, man. As far as like the Toa draft experience was so much fun. I miss Toa. You could build these heroes in so many different ways. The cards represented incremental value. Shock Charmers, I know it's just Spell Void 2, but I really want that card to be cool and be good.
I think the biggest problem with Tales of Aria is the unlimited print quality is just so bad.
The unlimited print run more than the print quality, I think.
The quality is kind of bad too. Like the cards, I think it's the Japanese print are more like, I don't know, they're like rubbery almost. Like they don't feel right, and the packs are a pain to open. I'm just not a fan of unlimited Tales of Aria. I
don't like. I don't know if you heard in season 1 of this podcast, I said Tales of Aria Unlimited doesn't exist because
that's a good way.
I've never opened a Tales of Aria Unlimited pack, and I've never had anyone try to trade me a Tales of Aria Unlimited card. I've never seen like an unlimited Crown of Seats. I've never seen an unlimited Rampart of the Ram set. I always joke around that it doesn't exist.
I have one on my desk right here.
And then Playtime TCG says buy low, then open the products instead of selling it. That is big brain. That is a big brain move. I could be in on that.
All right, so I don't have it on my desk, but I do have this, which is pretty cool. This matters at all. Just like
that is pretty sweet.
Hummingbirds. That's kind of cool.
That's pretty neat. That's
not the same thing.
That's a cool thing to have on your desk. I was actually doing a test. So I have a fan on my desk, and I wanted to see what foils did, like from different sets and how they look by a fan, because the humidity. I have a couple ramps if you'd like to skateboard.
F's in the chat for those even bigger than that.
if you'd like to skateboard or go on a half pipe, I have a couple of those. Chester Cheetah points out that Monarch and Toa was printed into oblivion, and I think it's time for us to kind of put that to bed, right? We know it; it's well known at this point. You know, we got to move on sooner or later. But Chester Cheetah, that is not to say you are incorrect. I believe you are correct. We will not speculate on print runs on this podcast, because I don't know.
Hey guys, gotta go. Look at the time.
Neither of us been banned yet, and we're not asking to be. So we're.
I kind of enjoy playing Flesh and Blood right now. I'm gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that one to ourselves. But guys, if you stuck around this long, we appreciate you so much for our very first live episode of the reaction phase. Maybe one day we'll do one of these in person. That'll be sweet. But now it's time for my favorite time in the episode. It is the closing crazy comments section, where both Mo and I give you, the viewer, a chance to shine and talk about a comment you have left us on last week's episode of the reaction phase. So if you want a chance to be featured on next week's reaction phase, this is gonna be weird because this one's live. I guess you're gonna have to go to the recording and leave a comment for us. We probably won't have many to choose from because you guys have been so awesome. You guys have been awesome chatters, and we're not gonna have many comments, but that's future Mo and future Josh's problem to worry about. Mo, what's your closing crazy comment?
I'm going to pick Trevor Ruff. And
Ooh.
Trevor said, the passion of Mo is ... is quite passionate. And that, it's true. My passion is passionate. I got to agree with Trevor here on that one.
Trevor Ruff will always remember. I will always remember Trevor Ruff, because we did an episode of a podcast, and the very first, I try to respond to as many YouTube comments as I can. Now, with the baby on its way, I don't do it as much anymore, but I would try to respond to every comment on the channel, positive or negative. I tried to respond to every comment that was made on Hometown TCG. And the first one ever from Trevor was like, whoa, I didn't know Chris Hemsworth talks about Fab. And he spent the next week, whenever he commented, just calling me handsome, which was super nice. And normally the internet is a horrible, horrible place where you have to wade through the filth. It was a bright, shining moment for me. And even if he was lying to me, it made me smile. So really,
I'm glad that he's willing to lie to you to make you feel good. That's great. Hey, we all need a friend like that. So
listen, I'm a content creator. Lie to me. Just pander to me. I'm okay with that. I'm very self-aware. So I love your comment. I'm going with Adrian Garcia, who commented, I love how the joke of Mobog playing Kano has gone this far. We all know he's playing Azalea. Well, maybe he wishes he did, because it wasn't a joke, and he almost cut Eye of Ophidia for the next event. He was close. How many times did you hit Eye of Ophidia off the top?
So my 2 kill turns in a row, guaranteed lethal, guaranteed game over. My one opponent even said, hey, should I just concede to you now? I was like, no, let me do my thing. This is the reason I played this deck. Let me just go off this turn. Because Aether Wildfire hit for 5, and I banished Blazing Aether already. This was the kill turn. And I just look at the top card of my deck, I look at him, and I just start laughing. And he's like, what? And I'm just laughing, because I think this is, a part of the deck. And I show him the eye, and he starts cracking up too. And I forgot who was sitting next to me. They looked over because they're both just laughing hysterically at this point. Because I have videos on the deck and I lose the game on the spot there. So it happened twice in a row during nationals. And it ruined all confidence. I stayed up at the Airbnb in my air mattress, just like this, just holding the card above my head. What did I do to you? Why don't you love me anymore? I needed some 90s depressing breakup songs.
You are probably I'm so glad we're friends, because when you go to these events, the messages I get from you are I was sitting with my wife at Starbucks I was having a coffee, and we're just sitting there, we're talking about Baby Planet. I look at my phone and I just started laughing. It's just and then the second time you're like, it happened again, or whatever you said. I was like, what are the odds? This is insane. And in CC too, not in Blitz, in CC. So that was crazy. So again, shout out to you guys. A couple of comments we'll talk about before we end here. Chester Seated Cheetah says, you do this every week. Yes, we do. If you hit the like, comment, share, and subscribe button, you can be notified every week when Mo and I go live and talk about all the goings on in the Flesh and Blood world and the Flesh and Blood universe. Playtime TCG, a huge support of the channel. Thank you so much for hanging out. Wants us to talk about the fact that there's only 10 TOA Unlimited boxes, but we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So you can't make us.
Well, I yeah. Listen, for enough moolah, I'll talk about anything, you know? Like, listen,
let it be known Mo Bogsley's opinions are for sale. But again, thank you all so much for hanging out. We're going to let Mo get some sleep. Mo has been running for 5 days on, like, I don't know, 18 to 20 hours or something like that, max.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
You're not equipped for that, man. I've been in training. I started a YouTube channel to train for not sleeping to become a dad. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm always ready to go. I'm always bringing the coffee and bringing the energy. You'll get there one day, my friend.
I hope so, because I feel like a boomer. I feel like
you are.
I woke up this morning at 4 a.m. to get ready for work, and I'm like, I'm old. This is not okay.
You are.
Like, yeah.
Are you 30 yet?
No, don't even. I'm not even close. You take that out of your mouth, sir.
Hey.
We got plenty of time left. Plenty of time.
What's wrong with being 30? You know what? Yeah, this is the best way to end this podcast. Let's just fight. Let's just freaking fight. This is ridiculous.
I'm done.
I will bear hug you and lay on the ground. You're not going anywhere. Actually, the last time we were in an Airbnb together, we both protected each other. So we were in a very sketchy Airbnb situation. So we set up booby traps all around the Airbnb in case someone broke in and tried to attack us.
I've had these sketchiest Airbnb stories. Complete side note, because it's the end of the pod for mine as well.
Yeah, what else are we doing?
I was at an Airbnb for a TwitchCon, and the Uber driver was driving us, and he's like, "Hey, are you from these parts?" I'm like, "No, I'm from Chicago." And he's like, "Oh, you'll be fine. Just don't make eye contact with anybody. Don't talk to anybody." He's like, "I don't think you should be here." And I was like, "This is gonna be a great Airbnb stay." I'm like, "This is gonna be a great time." So yeah, if you ever want a sketchy Airbnb, slide in my DMs. We can go somewhere.
It really is. Every time I'm with you, it's a sketchy Airbnb situation. Like, I'm almost glad I didn't stay with you in Vegas, because I can only imagine the trouble you get in an Airbnb in Vegas.
But I stayed at the hotel. Vegas, I'm good. I got a hotel. They treat me like a king because, like, they know where I am. Like, Vegas carries my name with respect, so...
Nobody carries your name with respect, dude. I've known you for long enough now. It's not any different for me. I'm not saying anyone does it for me, but know who you are. Know thyself, child.
That's fair.
All right, guys.
Very fair.
We've reached the end of the pod. Thank you so much for hanging out again. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and visit channel sponsor MinMaxGamesFab.com. Use promo code HTTCG for 5% off your singles order of $50 or more. Help support me, help support Ascent, help support the pod. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh.
I'm the handsome one, also known as Mo.
And we are apparently just lying to you. See you around, everyone.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say,